this public hearing. Apologize for being a few minutes late. The purpose of the hearing is to hear and consider public comments related to proposed ordinance number 1031 and 1032 that will amend the borough's zoning ordinance and subdivision and land development ordinances, also known as SELDO. We'll call this meeting to order, and Solicitor McDermott is going to go over the overview, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of council, members of the public. As the chair mentioned, this is the time and place of the duly advertised public hearing on proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance and companion amendments to the subdivision and land development ordinance as prepared by the solicitor and recommended by the planning commission. I will give a little background and summary and discuss the amendments and substance in a moment, but if I might first, I do want to enter just a number of administrative and illustration exhibits into the record for this monograph. First would be, and we're not going to mark the actual ordinances, but let's just call Exhibit 1 the zoning ordinance, proposed zoning ordinance amendment, ordinance number 131. Exhibit number 2 would be the proposed amendments to the subdivision and land development ordinance that's been captioned as ordinance number 132. And then thirdly, I will hand to this mark as Exhibit B, or Exhibit 3, beg your pardon, the proofs of publication of both the ordinance, and I'll hand out copies as well. As required under the MPC, proofs of publication of the advertising, both of the ordinance consideration and in the public hearings. The first advertised on November 14th, 2024 in the Post-Gazette. Also advertising the ordinance accompanying resolution designating the ordinance as a pending ordinance. And then secondly, the second page of the proof of publication is the proof of publication for this specific public hearing that was advertised on December 26, 2024 and January 2nd, 2025. The next exhibit that would enter into the record would be Exhibit 4, which would be the Planning Commission letter dated October 29th, reflecting the Planning Commission's recommendation regarding the proposed ordinance. Thank you. The following exhibits, they're illustrative, and we'll use them in the course of the hearing, but just to distribute them all one time. This mark is Exhibit 5. This is an illustrative map exhibit that was created by Mr. Power and distributed and discussed at the Planning Commission meeting. Next, we'll mark as Exhibit 6, and again, this is just an illustrative discussion document. It's a document called Definitions Lots, which I prepared, which includes some existing definitions in our ordinances as it stands today and the proposed definitions. And then finally, Exhibit 7 will be a handout regarding flag lots, a diagram, which we'll discuss during the course of the hearing. And with those, if I might, just by way of background, these amendments arose as a result of some inquiries about scenarios that can happen when you have an existing plan of lots, for instance, and lots adjacent to it. One example was on Missouri Avenue. That led to exploration by Mr. Collins, the zoning officer as well, and I of other potential scenarios. And with that in mind, the map exhibit that was prepared kind of gives you an overview of a number of scenarios that a mature community like Ridgeville has, where you have connection points to other communities. We have Collier Township, we have Upper St. Clair, we have South Fayette. And then also, when you look overhead, you also look at kind of our plans of lots neighborhoods, most of them are in kind of black and white. Anywhere where you can look down over that and see a large tract of land, even internal to the community that's adjacent to those have the potentiality of how do you handle where you have recorded plans of lots and neighborhoods, and how do you make fit other potential future developments with those. So with that larger inquiry in mind, the solicitor was commissioned to review the existing ordinances, make recommendations, present them to the planning commission, which we did. I can tell you that I consulted with a number of peers that I worked with in other communities over the last 20 years, where we did a lot of active planning and ordinance development, including and also including, we have the luxury here of having Leonard Smith, who worked with me in other communities on zoning matters. Sean Wingrove of Leonard Smith also looked at some of these matters with us. And also, being plagiarists at heart, we didn't reinvent the wheel on a lot of these things. There's nothing here that's new, as I'll get to you in a minute. We actually looked around, looking at our scenarios and other well-known and used ordinances, and kind of filled in the gaps of what we would want to recommend here. Just by way of summary, and a lot of these amendments have to do with lot architecture, and a lot of them work together. So you'll see that by way of summary, we address something called flag lots, and then we moreover address what do you do where you have building lot lines for vacant parcels in an existing plan of lots. What's the setbacks for those? How are lots, vacant lots, allowed to be used or not used to connect to different lands that are, say, in a different zoning district, outside the existing plan, or they may be in a different municipality.
Would you prefer questions during or wait till you're done?
I guess, yeah, if you want to let me
Yeah,
finish, I'll try to address. Yeah. And with that in mind, and by way of summary, the amendments do a number of things. They do limit flag lots, and we'll discuss it. They discuss how you have the minimum and maximum setbacks when you're putting on structure in an existing neighborhood. There are companion to the rules we already have on what you have when you have a non-conforming lot, so you've changed the rules on it. Rules regarding the use of an empty lot for its intended purpose, which is the use of that versus using it as a driveway or a roadway to other lands. Those are kind of the nature of all of the amendments. And finally, there is an amendment that was kind of a catch-all that addresses accessory structures. And it's kind of a common rule. It's actually not a rule that's required in ordinances. It's just a law. You can't put the cart before the horse. You can't have a swimming pool before you have a house. You're supposed to have a primary structure before you have an accessory structure. Quite common in almost every zoning ordinance. South Fayette is almost verbatim what the language is that we adopted for that. So with that in mind, I'm happy to address any questions, folks.
So I have a couple of thoughts, and a lot of it's just my own education too.
Sure.
So like, have patience with me. So
Sure.
I know the one part of B is on flag lots. Have we had problems in Bridgeville on flag lots? And if not, what is there? Have you had experience
experiences in other communities where you have a scenario where, again, and some of the stuff is, if, not to get into the weeds of planning, today you hear the phrase like planned residential developments and open space. Whenever you do development today, all of that stuff is taken care of in the plan itself, so that you don't have these orphan parcels, so to speak, or parcels behind them. What this does is address what do you do in a community where it was developed before that occurred. Scenario over in another township where you have a cul-de-sac, the woods all behind the house, the school district owned all the entire property, and they sold off the woods. Next thing you know, and I think the handout is a good, the flag diagram that I showed you, it looks like a flag. That's what it is. And now suppose your minimum width, if you look at that diagram, was 60, okay? So you can put a house as long as you have 60 wide, but suppose your lot was 90 or 80 or 75 even. Without a flag lot restriction, you could build a house on that lot, but then you could basically do a glorified driveway running up the side yard with that extra 15 feet and basically put a house in the backyard, so to speak, or in a lot behind that home. It's pretty common that those are prohibited or limited.
Okay, another one for you. The maximum and minimum setback requirements. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because
Yeah.
it seems to me like in Ridgeville, like on a lot of our streets, there's a lot of variance and things like that.
But not on a particular, if you ride off, say, Missouri Avenue or Planet Lots, most of the times you're going to see that in the residential primarily, the setbacks are pretty aligned. Most times when builders came in, they plan a street or a community, you're lining back, the house is kind of the front yards, the houses are, even when you're right down any street, they're pretty much, within, usually exactly lined up, usually. Traditionally, you always had minimum setbacks. The maximum setbacks, they work together with the flag lot rule just to kind of address some potential issues, but by and large, the setback rules are really designed to kind of have vacant lots that for whatever reason didn't get developed when the rest of the neighborhood got developed, that when you're going to build a house there, you don't have your house, your neighbor's house, next thing you know, the next house is like in your backyard, 50 feet back, and then the other ones. And this rule is actually a companion to rules that already exist for, every zoning ordinance has a section called non-conforming lots. In your existing ordinance, in all ordinances, they have provisions that tell you, like, if we change the setback from 30 to 40, say, now you want to go build a house on the street where the entire street was built when the setbacks were 35, it doesn't kind of make sense not to let the person, or actually require the person to line up the house as it would have been built with the rest of the neighborhood. That's what those are.
So the existing system, the existing right now, for example, my brother's property on McLaughlin Road, it sits way back in the hillside, okay? Whereas the other houses are 20 feet from the sidewalk. Is it because of the age of the original building?
Some of yours may have been pre-zoning.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Probably the one that's way back there was pre-zoning.
Probably,
Yeah.
okay.
I got another one for you. Yeah, on the accessory structures, so I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. Let's say that Justine has a lot somewhere, and she's like, you know what, I want to build a greenhouse there. Is that not allowed in?
Not unless a greenhouse is a principal use that's allowed in that district. And this happens a lot. We've had issues on North River, somebody just put a freestanding wood shop on a piece of property. It's actually residential property. Now, you might be able to do a home occupation. You might be able to have a wood shop and a house together, but in a residentially zoned, unless you would decide to do so otherwise in your zoning ordinance, almost universally, it's kind of designed to not allow you to put the cart before the horse. And what happens is, in those instances, the cart stays, the horse never comes. In other words, the wood shop's there, they intend to build a house, there never is a house built. A lot of times it happens, you end up with something with that garage, things of that nature. And it doesn't matter whether it's swimming pool, whatever, accessory uses are things that are subordinate to and go with a primary use. They go hand in glove. And really, this is more educational. And I just threw it in because we had a couple of kind of recent incidences down the road where even some code officers, Joe's well aware of this, but there's code officers that I've had in the communities issue building permits for pool buildings on pieces of property or garage thinking that you're allowed to put it there and you can't. And that provision, again, it's a quote from Lafayette's ordinances, which is you can't, unless and until you put a primary, you can't put the accessory structure.
It's in residential, not commercial.
Well, commercials, off structures, you usually can, it would apply universally, but in a commercial district, those kind of structures are almost universally allowed as principal uses. This is really mostly a residential concept.
I have one question, Tom.
Yeah.
Chapter 8, you're looking at having a building line in front yard setbacks. It's related to, it says also, industrial district also. Would that be considered? That's the only thing I'm saying. You're building setbacks. I thought, I was under the intention that if you're in a commercial district, you could go up to the line.
Yeah, nothing in these amendments designates any setbacks, in other words, 0, 15, 30. It doesn't do anything with numbers. All the existing setbacks, even the ones that are 0, they stay the same. And this is really for kind of plans of lots, residential. Does it theoretically apply to commercial? Yeah. But in the commercial district, you have a 0 setback, or whatever the case may be. And I know the planning commission is looking even in the business district right now in the future. But if this doesn't impact what a setback is, it basically tells you what you're allowed to do when you have a property that's vacant or demolished to be rebuilt, when you have existing setbacks side by side.
Thanks, Tom.
Anything else? Okay.
I'll come back around. So, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at CME as being kind of addressing concerns of some of the people who brought to council from Missouri. What were the other thoughts on these, like just best practices that we don't currently have in Bridgeville?
Yeah, again, even though, nothing comes up in a vacuum when you're looking at plans. Even though the initial inquiry may have been done with one scenario, when we started looking at the map, looking at other scenarios, looking at the R Rules has versus others, these are the kind of things that we thought a combination are things that would kind of button up a number of items, not just any single issue raised. And again, it's as much as an interior issue as it is any kind of an exterior issue. And again, the other thing is too, that in zoning, as you guys know, folks know, there's your grandfather, we can't change the rules and knock on your door and say, move your house back, take your shed down. If you are grandfathered on the existing uses.
Okay.
And even, I know folks in the community, for example, on Ramsey, where you have the primary structure, because that's the way it was built years ago. You have 2 45s, and the house is on one, the garage is on the other. The ordinances allow you to treat that as a single. So it doesn't impact folks with current. And there's even, and if folks have unique circumstances, there is relief that can be sought for variances and whatnot. Your ordinance actually in the commercial district provides for its off-street parking. Parking is an accessory use that usually has to be on the same lot as the primary use, but your ordinance allows for a special exception with the zoning board and for variances. You have a recent example where you can address needs that are unique to your situation with that.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. will move on to the public comment. Please state your full name and address for the record when you come aboard. Mr. de Blasio.
Thank you. I'm Pasquale de Blasio, 447 Washington Avenue, Bridgeville, PA. I would appreciate to include my email, Tom, in the record. To be very direct, I am fine and supportive of items C and E under section 1003.1 and those changes. But I would respectfully request council to reject items B, D, F, and G, especially item G. The concept that we have to have average, that I can't build further back than my neighbor does, or the average thereof, is an unnecessary bureaucratic restriction. And so I would ask that those be eliminated from this proposed change. I'd also suggest that the accessory structure issue and the amendments to 1003.3A also be removed from consideration. I would suggest that all of those items should be referred back to the Planning Commission for a discussion in an open meeting. Because I think that there are unique aspects of those items that apply to our community. And as much as best practices are very good to look at, we here in Bridgeville have our own unique circumstances that are different from South Fayette's. And adopting South Fayette's language here is not necessarily the best practice for us. Again, our subdivisions are not 100 houses. When we subdivide, we're dealing with smaller, more intricate problems. And putting our zoning officer and our community at a disadvantage by restricting them unnecessarily is not helpful to our community. Again, our overall goal, which is, I believe, met with items C and E, which are basically, you can't use your lot to drive from our community to another community. That's good. The rest, the other items, I would ask that you please reject them tonight and refer them back to the Planning Commission. Thank you.
You bet. Mr. Dawson.
Well, my name's Bill Dawson. I have no idea what the address on Missouri is that I am. But everybody's talking about Missouri, and the only people that know me are down at that end. All right. 40 years ago, the first place I went to was Ceresnik's Hardware. And I've been knowing Jeff for over 25 years, and Dave got his Maserati flag and his Ferrari flag from Monaco and from Rome. Because I feel like it's neighborhoods. We're being neighbors. We should be neighbors. And for 22 years, I've not had a crossword with any of my neighbors but one. And if you charge me for having words with Nino, then you don't know me. So when I bought the property, I thought I was young and I'd clear it and I'd raise some alpacas and build a house. Well, when the Historical Society came to me and asked me to put cows on Gilfillan, I did that for 10 years, and so that kind of made things on the property that we're talking about. You know, I just kept clearing it. And then I got old and tired. So I'm going to tell you what's going on. Haley made me an offer based on 26 units. And I turned him down because that's crap. I don't want that kind of stuff on there. This is my neighborhood too. It's going to have to be sold. I'd like it to go to one person, so it could be like Cassidy or Wyatt, or, you know, and it'd be open. But they're telling me that people can't conceptualize more than 2 acres, and so probably they're gonna wanna put 3 or 4 or 5 houses down there. Now, nobody that I've talked to has any idea that they're gonna get access off of Missouri. I have told them that is a non-starter, it won't happen, in my opinion. But the way that ordinance is written, you can stop me from driving across my lot to get to my property. And, you know, Bridgeville, I've been very accommodating to you. When you came to replace the sewer, we worked it out. And when you had to store the big caisson concrete stuff, I let them store it up there. And when you want to come and dump the next 100 tons of stuff that you're saving across from Tar, that's a great place for it. But the way it stands right now, it says I cannot drive across my lot to get to my property. I don't think that's fair, do you? I'm asking you.
Tom,
Yeah,
consider you address that?
If you like, I can now, or wait. As you know,
That-
yeah, I'm happy.
we're
I'm
over
happy.
this.
No, I'm happy to address. I didn't know if you had a word.
No, I'm just, you know,
And I hope, and I did have I had 2 conversations actually.
With my lawyer.
With your lawyer, Mr. Acosta, up through today, this afternoon. And
He told me.
he was satisfied, and I hope you are, that this does not, and I said I'd be happy to place on the record, which I am, that there is, as I mentioned, grandfathering, that you've been using that as a driveway access. It doesn't prevent you from continuing to use the Bridgeville lots as you've been using them. Or a driveway is a driveway access to a single lot.
as long as that's on the record, because you 3 are good, I like you guys, but there's gonna be an election, and who knows who's coming next. So if you put it on record, that's all I need. I just wanna keep cutting trees down.
Right. And
I have to buy chainsaws from Jason.
And appreciate nobody, sir, nobody, and Joe's told us about his conversations with you as well, Mr. Clausen. Nobody has any doubts about what you said in your beliefs, but actually, what can happen was,
I could
well,
buy two.
you cash your chips in, somebody else gets
That's
it,
right.
that doesn't have the neighborhood.
As long as
in mind as you do.
you let me go across and do, I'll let you come down.
And as I indicated to your attorney too, and that's much appreciated both ways, but that's always your permission.
All right, thank you very much.
Anyone else? Okay, we're gonna adjourn the public hearing meeting at 7:11. Everybody just ready to go right in?
Yes, that would be good. I know.
Yeah, I know David for a long time.
Please rise. Pledge allegiance. If you could please remain standing for a moment of silence for our sick, handicapped, military personnel, and recently departed of our community. Thank you. If we could start with the roll call, please.
Mr. Reducey?
Here.
Mr. Gallarducci?
Here.
Ms. Simroli? Here. Mr. Perry? Here. Mr. Franchek? Mr. Henderson?
Here.
Mr. Sarasnik? Here. Mayor Copeland? Here. Solicitor McDermott? Here. Engineer Howell? Here. I'm Joe Power. Sergeant James? Here. Chief Castain? And Chief Miller?
Here. Okay, thank you. I'd like to go on record, Bridgeville Council met earlier in the executive session prior to the start of the meeting to discuss legal and personnel matters. We have guests. Rick, you'd state your name and your address, please.
Good evening. Rick Ruffinack, 1403 Vermont Drive. Come tonight to ask about the intersection of Bank, Churchiers, Lesnut, and Mayview Road. It's starting to get very sketchy through there with the development out in Upper St. Clair, people coming up out of the valley there, coming into town. You know, they're just coming up through there at any speed they want. You know, same way with people going out Bank Street, especially now that it's a super highway. People don't seem to have the concept of how to signal there. Like if you're sitting on Lesnut and you want to cut across to Chartiers, they don't know if they should turn left and then right or shoot straight across. And then if you're sitting on Chartiers, you see the left, so you think that guy's turning left, but then you go shoot straight across. You know, I just didn't know if there was some way we could maybe put a four-way stop sign in there. I believe it is a state road though, correct? So I'm sure there has to be a study, and there has to be all the red tape to get to that point. But with the developments going on, it's just a matter of time. It truly is just a matter of time before somebody gets wiped out there. I've been on Vermont now just a few years, but grew up here in Bridgeville, and that intersection never seemed that bad. It truly didn't. But now, maybe it's because I'm older, I don't know. I've had some close calls, my wife had some close calls, and it's just a matter of time. So I was just curious to see if there's anything
This has actually been
we could push. Oh, I'm sure I'm not the first person to start.
no, this actually has been a topic, and Joe, I don't know if you want to
Yeah, I can give an update.
give a highlight on that.
Yeah, about maybe 4 months ago, Bridgeville and Upper St. Clair partnered to complete a roundabout study to improve the intersection. We retained traffic engineers from Trans Associates to complete that study, and it's still ongoing, and we don't have the report back. We meet periodically with those traffic engineers as they go along. We haven't got their results back, but they're also going to present information on if it was going to be signalized, if a roundabout couldn't be accomplished there. We'll have that information back soon so that we can present it to PennDOT on how the Borough Council wishes to proceed. So we retain traffic engineers. They're looking at either a roundabout or traffic signals. Preferably, the request was a roundabout. The goal was to then go back to PennDOT. We've been meeting with all our legislatures. We took, we had little
We actually took
brochures.
it forward with
Yeah,
Representative Coley.
correct.
Oh, okay.
Mayor, myself,
Yeah,
and Joe
yeah.
rode in the car and went up to the
Yeah.
intersection, and she immediately could see
Oh, yeah.
exactly what you
Yeah,
were
I mean, you know, certain times of the day, you just kind of close your eyes and go.
And then we've been talking to PennDOT because all 4 roads are state roads. So it's complex. We've got 4 state roads and straddles 2 municipalities. one thing nice is PennDOT's been part of the conversation, and they've been talking to the SPC as well. So all the right players are going. We have a study in the works, so hopefully we can keep this pushing so that we can see some positive change in the near future.
Okay, and Chief, since you're sitting over there, I come down the Lesnut Road, I wanna go over to Chartiers. Do I left, right? Do I go straight? How do I signal there? 'Cause-
I would
'cause
suggest you're making a left turn, so
you're doing
signal left, and then as soon as you start hitting, put your right turn.
Put your right, okay. Because-
That's the best I can tell you.
Yeah, okay.
That's actually how I drive at.
Yeah, I've been trying different ways just to see if it makes it easier for me and then everybody else I'm coming up on. So, all right, thank you, appreciate it. Happy New Year, everybody.
I have a question, may I ask?
Sure.
Has the number of accidents in that intersection been increasing recently? I would say within the past 12, 24 months.
I'd have to go back and pull data from prior, but we have had accidents at that intersection, without a doubt.
It seems to be happening more frequently than the last.
Off the top of my head, I would say that it's probably the case, but I'd have to actually pull the raw data, which I could do and present to Joe.
Yeah, I'll just interject too. You're certainly not the first to brought up that concern. It's definitely on our radar. I walk down New York and I walk down Romano and I hear from everybody, same thing you said.
You know, one of the other big issues is they come up Chartiers and they do the Winfield cut through, you know, to get on the bank, so they don't have to sit
Right.
4 or 5 cars deep on Chartiers. You know, and they're going out to out to Maisie Road, you know, so they get their head of steam to come through that intersection. And the same way people coming off last night. They make the right on the bank and then shoot through the Winfield cut through to get on the Chartiers, so they don't have to sit 3 or 4 cars, which, you know, I mean, it gets to be very crazy at that intersection at certain times of the day. That's all.
For sure.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. We'll start with the business at hand. Motion to approve December 9th, 2024 regular meeting minutes as submitted. So moved.
Second.
Bruce and Justine. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to approve the January 2025 bill list. So moved. Bruce, Jason, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the January 17th, 24th, 31st, and February 7th, 2025 payrolls. So moved. Bruce? Second. Jason, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to adopt ordinance number 1031, an ordinance of the Borough of Bridgeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending its zoning ordinances, chapter 27 of its code of ordinances to establish updated rules regarding lots, lot design, frontage, minimum and maximum setbacks, accessory structures, uses, and related requirements within the borough.
I'll make a motion.
Justine? Do I have a second?
Any questions? Any comments?
You gotta go for motion.
I'll second.
Bill, second. Any questions or comments?
We reviewed everything, public everything, during. Anyone wants to comment on anything that in it?
Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I'm sorry? No?
Yeah, I'm gonna too.
Okay.
There's 1 or 2 things in there that. We're gonna do a roll call,
Joe, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Rowley,
Yay.
Mr. Ferry,
No.
Mr. Franchek, Mr. Gallarducci,
No.
Mr. Henderson,
Yes.
Mr. Sarasnik,
No.
Mr. Verducci.
Yes.
It's tied.
And that's the mayor, correct?
Mayor Copeland, yes.
Motion carries. Motion to adopt ordinance 1032, an ordinance of the Borough of Bridgeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending its subdivision and land development ordinance, chapter 22 of its code of ordinances, to establish updated rules regarding lots, lot frontage, design, minimum and maximum setbacks, and accessory structures and uses within the borough. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Jason? I have a second.
I'll second.
Bill? Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Cimaroli?
Yes.
Mr. Ferry?
No.
Mr. Franchek's absent. Mr. Gallarducci?
No.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Sarasnik?
Yes.
Mr. Verducci?
Yes.
Motion carried.
A motion to authorize the execution of change order number 1 for the Bluff Street Extension Slope Stabilization and Retaining Wall project, that is in the amount of $4,750 to include the installation of 1 additional base course of Ready Rock wall block, 65 linear feet, to address existing field conditions. Bruce?
Second.
Justine, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the purchase of a Caterpillar mini excavator with a brush cutter attachment at State Co-Star's contract price from Cleveland Brothers in the amount of $86,092. Can I have a second?
Second.
Jason, Bruce, and any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the purchase of a 2025 Ford Police Interceptor SUV with an extended service warranty and emergency equipment upfitting from Laurel Ford at State Co-Star's contract price of $61,423.30.
So moved. Second.
Bill and Bruce, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. A motion to authorize Secure Technical Solutions to install security cameras at multiple signalized intersections within the borough as requested by the police department at a cost not to exceed $10,268.
So moved.
Bruce?
I'll second.
Bill? Any questions?
I have a question from Councilman Franchek, who's not here, he just wanted it on the record. He wanted to know if there's any recurring maintenance subscription on this.
No, we'll have internet bill, and then maintenance if it breaks, but there's no subscription for it.
Just similar to the other cameras, correct?
To our security cameras, not the intersection cameras.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to request PennDOT to complete a speed reduction study on Chartier Street so that a lower speed limit, if enacted, will permit a crosswalk to be installed connecting the north side, sidewalk side of Chartier Street to Chartier's Park, as requested by the Bridgeville Planning Commission.
So moved.
I'll second.
Bruce and Justine, any questions?
So, again, I guess Councilman Franchek had a question, so get on the record. He said, do we have to pay a request for the study, or can we just reduce it on our own? Is this because it is a state road?
It's a state road. We can't lower the speed limit on a state road without their.
But they don't charge for a traffic study. Speed study.
And their speed study may come back like Bank Street saying that it don't meet their warrants to lower it, and we're stuck with what they say it is. So
Okay.
just let you know.
Yeah, and I had a question on my own. I know there's a couple people on the planning commission here. Like I walk this street and I go down to the park, and it's pretty dangerous. Like, I don't know if we really want more people making that walk. Like, I do it, I'm pretty athletic, and when I go, I run. But I don't know if we want encouraging I want us to have a walkable community. I don't know if we want to encourage people, like kids, like a 13-year-old, to cross the street on Chartiers and go down that, with both the cars flying up and down Chartiers, plus also the entrance and going down into the park. I don't know if you guys had any comments that you wouldn't mind sharing, but I was wondering if if anything else was looked at, because I'm pro like having walkable access to that park, but you know, I have some misgivings about this.
We have this misgivings about it also, but, you know, and we're always looking for solutions. If anybody's got a suggestion, we're open to it. But, you know, that Chartiers Park is one of the heavier used parks in town. And trying to, you know, with the active transportation study, the active transportation plan that was recently done, you know, strongly recommended, you know, making all the parks available and, you know, encourage us to use a walkable community. You know, there's no easy answer for this.
I think one of the things that planning thought of was that since Chartiers is going to be worked on, all right, and that entrance will be worked on as PennDOT moves further up the hill, that this would be a good time to look at that intersection and determine what needs to be done to improve the safety. All right, whether or not it is I mean, this is why planning asked for a speed study, so that we could understand what's going on. And we know that people are slowing down to go around that curve, but is it slow enough? And hopefully they provide us with the answers. And the other thing is too, is that there are things that you can do for the intersection to identify the intersection as a children's crossing or lights and that sort of thing, so.
But Jason, your concern is people walking down the hill.
Oh, down the hill.
If you put the crosswalk there, then you're promoting walking down the hill.
Both coming across Chartiers, and not so much people coming up Chartiers, but those coming around the bend on Chartiers, going across the street, and then also down into the park. Like, I run down into the park, but I run like, but I can see a 13-year-old walking down there, and you know, I can see that as being pretty dangerous.
Jason, and Justine and Dale, could we look at something instead of like having, I mean, we want a crosswalk, so the main thing is having the park accessible to pedestrian traffic.
For sure.
You know, it's a park. You should go to walk to a park in town. Could we look at once you have to have a crosswalk to get across Chartiers Street. There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, it's a road. But once you get across, could we look at an alternative pathway that maybe does not run parallel to the road, that's away from the traffic on the hill? You know,
and I'm just asking, and I think I saw this in the comprehensive plan, but have you done any investigation on maybe coming in from one side of the park or the other side of the park in some way?
I mean, that would be ideal. It's a steep. It isn't like when we were kids and there used to be natural trails all along that hillside, and you know, I haven't gone down that hillside since I was a kid. But
I'm a teacher. I see kids do stupid things all the time.
we all do stupid things.
I feel stupid just running down into that park, but I do it anyway.
I would love to see a different a different walking trail or a pathway that's easily accessible by, you know, pedestrian traffic. It doesn't go down that. You know, number one, you have to walk all the way to the top of the hill and then all the way back down to get there. But you know, maybe we can let us go back to our next meeting and look at the terrain, because that's the thing. The park's not big, you know. So look at the terrain and see where we could put. I mean, you have trails going around. You have a walking path that goes around the park. So it's you know, we want people to go there and walk. So they drive down there and then get out of your car and walk. You know. So maybe we can look at that at our next planning commission meeting.
Yeah.
on that, are you okay doing the study for the road?
Well, I just want to bring up their concern, because
It's a valid
I've done it
concern.
myself.
It's a valid concern, absolutely. But this isn't approving the crosswalk, this is just approving the study.
Just, yeah.
You need to move forward with that. Yeah, we can't even consider doing a crosswalk without the study.
But am I right to say that you guys might look at other alternatives to get into the park, possibly? Yeah. So I'm okay with the study, but again, I just.
Well, it has to be voted on to put a crosswalk next, correct? If that would get to that.
You know, it should be a study in the crosswalk, but then if they redo that whole entire road,
Yeah.
you might have to pull that
Change
crosswalk
anyway.
out and change it anyway, it might be another different.
Right.
When I'm saying, looking for other accesses to the park, which is not an easy thing.
So we got two motions, correct? Okay, so can I have a motion on?
We have it, it's just now it's just a vote.
Okay,
The
now it's just
motion
a
made by
vote.
Bruce, seconded by Justin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The motion to authorize the execution of an agreement with Municipal Advertising Consultants for the production of the 2025 Borough Guide. So moved. Bruce? Jason? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the borough engineer to prepare plans, project specifications, and bid documents, and to authorize the advertisement for bids for the 2025 road paving program. So moved. Bruce? Second. Jason, any questions?
So, Councilman Frenchek, again, I have another question. Basically, he wanted to know, would these all be bid all together as one, or would it be separated?
They're separate, that's how we do ours.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to exonerate tax collector Ann Marie Parisi from the collection of the 2021 delinquent real estate taxes that have been sent to Jordan Tax Service for lien. So moved.
Second.
Justine, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the renewal of the borough's property, equipment, automotive, general liability insurance packages through MRM Risk Management at a cost of $108,808, effective February 4th, 2025 through February 4th, 2006. So moved. Second. Bruce and Jason, any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to authorize the purchase of cybersecurity insurance through CFC Insurance at a cost of $4,580.
I'll make a motion.
Justine? Second. Bruce? Any questions, comments?
My comment is that you brought this up, and that's something seriously we had to do for the future. You've gone through stuff.
Yeah, I just would like to thank Joe Carr for doing all the due diligence with it. I've gone to quite a few government meetings, and people say that you're nuts if you don't have cybersecurity insurance as a business, especially since it's a government entity representing the residents of Bridgeville. So excited that we're moving forward. There's a lot of good things that are going to be involved. There's a lot of security training for the employees, and Joe, I think this council should go through that since we have a borough email as well. So it's something that's needed, especially in some of the horror stories that everybody has heard over. So
I do have a question. It's not as specific to this insurance. However, as borough representatives, should we be trained at all on responding to emails or social?
that's exactly what I had asked Joe, because the employees are going to be trained. I think
Okay, so
we
that covers
should be
like
included as well.
what you say on how you say things on Facebook or how.
Oh, no, that wouldn't be part of that. That was.
I don't
mean,
respond on Facebook
Yeah.
because
I mean, ALOM, when we went to the ALOM conference 2 years ago, they had a real good class on that. I'll have to see if I have any of that documentation. I thought you were there
I was
with.
there,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, so,
But, no, I don't have, we can maybe look and see if there's some type of webinar or something that,
okay.
that ALOM or one of the other Pennsylvania organizations have.
That or our elected official insurance would have guidelines that we have to follow, correct?
For Facebook comments?
For
Talking about
public
social
comments.
media policies and practices.
I mean, years ago, we went through that, but, you know.
I bet the state would have some type of webinar or something.
I'm sure we could look into
Yeah,
it
we
for
can
you.
do some literature too. We put on it at AIM as well.
I'm totally in favor of this. I was just asking, I wanted to know, or was curious, is like the borough files backed up in some way, I assume they are?
Yeah, those are, when he went to apply for it, he had to answer all these questions. And that was part of those different things. Yeah. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And I'm sorry, I do not know the date to finish this sentence.
June 14th.
Thank you. A motion to authorize the annual Bridgeville Day on the Avenue event to be held on June 14th, 2025.
So moved.
Bruce? Second. Jason? Barry? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to accept and pay any commission due December 2024 real estate tax collector report.
So moved.
Bruce?
Second.
Justine? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to acknowledge receipt of the December 2024 treasurer's report.
So moved.
Bruce?
Second.
Jason? Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. A motion to accept all submitted December 2024 official reports. So moved. Bill?
Second.
And Justine. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Good. Administration, Bruce, you got anything?
No, sir.
Okay, finance, limited today, our actual to, or budget to actual report. The general fund ended in a surplus, which we will be able to be transferred later in the year once things are finalized to go towards capital projects. We also had a small surplus in the sewer and garbage funds. And everything is, as always, done very economically and watching every penny. So congratulations to Joe Carr for another successful year to be able to prepare the budget as well as handling the funds throughout the year. That's all I have. Shane's not here. Did Shane give you anything for notes? Jason? You better get paid, by the way.
He did not, but I think didn't you and Shane talk a little bit?
We went to the parks, we just did a review of the parks as they stood, in the snow and so forth. So there are a couple of things that Shane noted that we need to go back and look at the basketball court up at Cook School Road to see whether or not it's heaved at all because of the weather. So he has a report, so.
Okay. I'm sure he'll report next month. Any questions, or I'm sorry, Public Works, Jason?
I have a couple of things. First thing I wanted to say that the Public Works Department does a phenomenal job removing snow. I think they're the best around. They're top notch. I mean, everyone's commented to me, the roads are clean, and they get out and ready to leave in the morning. The road, I mean, those guys are doing a phenomenal job, and kudos to all of them, and also to Joe coordinating them and get them where they should be. They've really done a phenomenal job, Joe, and I just want you to give that information. I try to tell them as they come to the store, you guys are doing a great job. Everyone's commented, and me personally, and as I was in the grocery store, someone said, Bridgeville has the best streets around. So, and they've also been, took all the Christmas decorations Spring sooner or later. Much later, I think.
Anything else for Jason?
I have a question about the salt. Do we have to order more salt, or is that, was the salt already on order and it's just a delivery?
It's kind of ongoing throughout winter, and we're really going through the salt this year compared to the past 2-3 years. And
This time you smoke, snow falls.
yeah, and it's kind of stressful because everyone's calling for salt at the same time we're calling for salt, and you see it on the news. Delivery sometimes in years past used to be 1-2 days, is now taking 5 to 7 days, and then it won't stop snowing, and then the deliveries aren't keeping up. So it's been kind of stressful, but it's all working out, and the shipping companies actually played a very good game of catch up today, and got us kind of back to where we were for deliveries I placed our orders for 7 days ago. So knowing that it isn't going to stop, I put another order in, forecasting kind of like if we had this awful week we had last week, this week, trying to get us ahead of the game so that if we do get behind the 8 ball with another 7-day lag, we don't get stuck. We got stuck several years ago. That was awful, and I don't want to do that again.
Any other questions?
I would just second what Jason, I think we all would agree, like, it's amazing that you'll drive through Bridgeville and things are really well done. You go into, not to denigrate any of the other communities, but the roads there's a distinct difference. Kudos to them.
Okay. Public safety, Bill.
Yeah, on behalf of the residents of Chestnut, Elm, Orchard, Bank, want to extend our thanks to the fire department for going above and beyond over the last several weeks. We've had a couple of events with gas leaks, and they've braved the cold into the wee hours of the night to give the residents some peace of mind by, exhausting their homes and getting them a little more comfortable going back in them. That said, as I understand it, there's still some gas leaks on at least Chestnut Street. 20 years isn't long enough for the people who live on that street to forget what happened. So we need to really press the gas company. I don't know what a stage 2 or level 2 gas leak is, but they openly admit that there's still a stage 2 gas leak on Chestnut Street. I can guarantee if any one of those guys lived on that street, they'd want it fixed too. So I would appreciate any kind of pull or push on behalf of the residents that live over there to expedite that repair. That's all I got to.
Any questions for Bill? Okay. Jason, the COG.
It's a pretty short meeting. Last month, I mentioned that the COG got a $500,000 grant for a new Vector. They're currently shopping for that. The COG gave approval for to purchase that. They're looking to buy one and have delivery for a new COG between January and August. I think that's about it.
Okay, any questions for Jason? Mayor Copeland.
The principal of Chartiers Valley Middle School has invited me to a program on Wednesday afternoon. And Sergeant James would like to share something with council members about a former police person following the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Oh, happy birthday to our Parking Authority Chairman, Deb Colosimo.
What a way to spend your birthday. Any questions for the mayor?
Thank you.
Police Department, Sergeant James.
Yes, you have the monthly report for December, and I will get the information to you as soon as possible about crashes at the intersection of Bank and last night.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? All right, Solicitor McDermott.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add to my written report.
Any questions? Burn Engineer, John Howell.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have a copy of our report. Just a couple updates for the borough. The wall on Bluff Street has been completed, and the final pay request will be coming into the borough for the next month's Mary Avenue stairs, the contractor, due to the weather, has been pushing back, so, he's now projecting the end of January to get started. Hopefully we'll get some better weather then, and he can get moving on it. And then the Area 4 sanitary sewer line project that was underway has been completed, and that's work going to be closed out.
Great. One question I have, any updates in regards to the flood mitigation down the road here?
On our end, we're ready to get moving on bid documents. We're trying to wait for the last two grants. Both FEMA and PEMA have not given real good responses to Joe and myself on questioning the grant funding, what the status is. It's under review, that's all we get out of it.
We check weekly.
Okay.
They just approved, the new Congress just approved their funding for the year, so.
It had nothing to do with dedicated funding, it's environmental historical reviews, so that's what we're.
Okay. No concerns, though?
I don't think so, because we went through environmental permitting.
Right.
So that's, if we didn't get the
Spend
permits, I'd be
that.
like, okay,
Yeah.
but like, we've already jumped through this, it's just now having another bureaucrat put up the same hoop for
One
us.
of the biggest questions he got was, how many trees will be cut down? That's what
We
that's
get
what the focus is on.
lists of silly, we call silly questions, like once a month, but John does a very good job getting an answer real quick, and then.
Tell them Joe will get them more trees. Okay.
And then we're going to be meeting with Joe here shortly to hopefully start, get at least the first of 3 projects moving forward.
Great. Any other questions for John? Nobody from fires here. Southbridge, Dan.
Our monthly report's been submitted. We will have the annual report in February, and then we will talk about some of the highlights of that at the meeting next month.
Okay, thank you. Bridgeville Historical Society.
Hi, I'm Lisa Shady. I'm a volunteer at the History Center, and we have a really exciting 2025 coming up. I'm looking forward to it. Our memberships, they're coming in really nice, corporate and individuals, new members and renewals. And with that, that helps us with our monthly programs. And I'm happy to say every month has been covered. We have presenters. It's free to the public, and thank you to the fire department for letting us be at the Chartiers room. So that's where we'll be again. So this month, Sunday, January 26th, we have a gentleman, Austin Hills. He's a software engineer, but he has done some really cool things with the yearbooks. He has put all the yearbooks online. And we're talking about the Bridger, the Lincoln Log, and Chartiers Valley. We're going to have a link to that website through us once his program is finished. But he's going to talk a little bit about that. And then in February, it's also going to be a Sunday, 1:30. And we have Pete DiNardo. He's from the Mount Lebanon History Center. And he's going to talk about the Underground Railroads. So just to start the year, I think that's going to be a couple really cool programs. And again, we are covered for all year. We, of course, have some things to buy. We have t-shirts, we have our sweatshirts, hats, and all that is for fundraising. So I appreciate everyone that comes in and purchases things. We have nuts, we have fruit cakes too. Again, I thank you to all the corporate sponsors. We have like 2 pages for the corporate sponsors. And we really appreciate everyone that partners with us and helps us out. Any questions?
He said, what date was that in February?
I'm sorry, February is the 23rd, Sunday the 23rd, and January is the 26th, 1:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bridgeville Library, Aaron.
You have the written report. The only thing really to add is winter spring programming starts today, and we have a lot of fun things on our event calendar.
Any questions for the library? And Parking Authority, Deb.
Hold on, George, unmute me, there we go. Okay, you have my report, but we're meeting next Tuesday instead of on Martin Luther King Day. I think we're gonna keep that in January on the Tuesday because we've canceled it for several years and I don't wanna do that. It's our reorganization meeting. Also, the 2 remaining lights needed in Lot 1 will be ordered and installed in 2025. We only have 1 light remaining in Lot 2 to be replaced with an LED, that's the entrance light. Then that will be completely all LED lighting. We've acquired and installed 4 LED wall mount lights in Lot
thank you, Debbie. Borough Manager, Joe Carr.
I don't have anything, we covered everything.
Okay.
I think you missed the plan.
Oh, did I miss the, I'm sorry, Planning Commission, excuse me, Dale. I think I did that the last time you came.
Almost. Come on, Joe, this is good to be a continuing thing. The upcoming meeting in January, we'll do our organizational meeting for this year. We're going to continue looking at the comp plan and active transportation plan. I'm scheduling a meeting to meet with Joe Cower this week and talk about some things to look at this coming year. So.
Okay. Thank you, Dale. Any questions for Dale? Any new business? I have one thing. The Bridgeville Rotary Club is going to be starting to collect items for comfort bags to supply to the Bridgeville Police and the South Fayette Police. These bags will have towels, washcloths, soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, a little toy for a kid or something. Most times when police have to help a family, they're in crisis. So one of the things, and this is actually a district, a Rotary district, all of Western Pennsylvania, or Pittsburgh, that is, they're doing this. And Rotary, in our club, really thought that this was a great little program to be able to supply something to each. Our goal is each police car, and hopefully we'll have a couple extra off to the side to be able, once they do use one, they can contact us and we can get them a replacement. So I'm going out there to the public. We have raised some money for this project, but we're looking to see if anybody would like to partner, either buying 25 things. I think we're at 25 bags right now. Is that right, Mike? 25 bags? 25 bags to buy 25 of something, or give us some cash so we can go in and purchase additional things to make it even more in that bag to be able to assist a family that would more than likely are in dire need at that time, a fire, car accident, something, have to go to the hospital, whatnot. So just asking for anybody who wants to contribute, please give me a call and I'm happy to direct you in the right place. Yes, Dale?
If somebody were to donate, how would they do that? Like, say,
Just work it out with me. Yeah, work it out with me, or Bill Pavio is our current president of the Rotary Club.
Just write out a check for Bridgeville later,
Yeah, Bridgeville Rotary. Yeah, Bridgeville South Fayette Rotary. That'd be great.
Martin Luther King Day?
Yes.
I don't know, when is the day of the ceremony or the?
Friday at 6:30 at New Life Testament Church on Preston Road. And Nadina Robusto, the music director from Bethany, will be there playing on harp this time.
She's very good too.
Yeah, okay, good.
Area ministers will also offer different prayers. Thank you.
Anything else? Bruce?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Can I have a motion, or a second?
Second.
Second? And we're adjourned.